Coronation Street star Richard Hawley reveals his performance as a grieving father is tribute to friend who lost child to suicide. Richard Hawley's performance as bereaved dad Jonny Connor was influenced by the story of Danbridge who lost son Flyn 14 years ago, and who blames lad culture for the high male suicide rate. Coronation Street actor Richard Hawley says his performance tomorrow night as a grieving father who finds his son's body is a tribute and honor men he knows who have dealt with similar suicides in real life. Richard, who plays Jonny Connor, will leave viewers in tears as he enters Aidan Connor's flat and finds a suicide note and then is heard breaking down as he finds his son's body in the bathroom. And Richard says being a member of a male charity program meant he was friends who had to go through the same thing themselves, including Father Danbridge who lost his teenage son Flyn. He said, "Through my own life I do have connections with the story and stories such as these. I have a friend who I tried to honor through this performance. He went through a very similar story to this. But it is wider than that. This stuff is going on and on a repeated level. I have just got a sense of mission and wanted to do it well to honor the families of the fallen. I wanted us to do what we can to make a seismic change in our culture. I know it is going to be a harrowing watch and it is a dark story, but it is a dark storyline that is trying to shine a light on something that is out there in the real world." Viewers on Monday night saw Aidan, played by Shane Ward, struggling to cope with a relationship breakdown, increased pressure at work and his fears of never being a father. He then went home and took his own life, although it was not shown on screen. Actor Shane, the writers and production team, have worked closely with charities Samaritans and Calm to ensure the story was handled sensitively and realistically. But tonight's episode is arguably even harder to watch as you see the aftermath left behind by Aidan and the absolute devastation of his family and friends. And Father Jonny breaking down before saying goodbye to Aidan's body is a heartbreaking soap scene that will live long in the memory. "It was agony in a way," says Richard. "But every single person in Coronation Street has wanted this story to be as strong as possible, and that was reflected in mine and Shane's relationship and our performance. They were very hard to do because they are scenes that you have to connect with. As an actor I hadn't felt the need to go outside of the story to look at any other images or ask for case studies. I tend to dwell within the language and the images that are being given to me as an actor. I spent a lot of nights at home rehearsing and pre-rehearsing so I could connect with something. So there were images I cooked up for myself in my mind, all of which were imagining Aidan as a young boy so I could get that sense of loss. I used an image of him running down a beach as a little boy, dropping an ice cream. Shane and I, and the whole Connor family, have always had each other's backs, so it has been a real sense of loss for us all in this with him leaving. I think there is something real in it from that place." Explaining how he discovered the details of Shane's exit, he added, "When we first heard about the storyline it was an enormous shock. It was a shock moment in every way for us because it impacts on us as a team and my colleague. I didn't know what was going on with Shane at the time and that he was leaving. It all happened at the same time. By stepping up he made a huge sacrifice. I deeply honor that man for doing it. At the same time I could see the importance of Coronation Street needing a high-value character to do this story that Shane has done because it is so important. The Connor family will be seen taking the news in different ways, with some being stronger than others and Aidan's sister Kate being angry for what he has done. The impact of the storyline is likely to be felt for months and years to come, but Richard insists it is something that needs to be tackled. Richard has been working with charity group A Band of Brothers to promote healthy masculinity and encouraging young men to have someone to speak to if they feel depressed or need someone to talk to about making the transition from boy to man. Research shows suicide is the biggest killer of men under 45 in this country, with 84 men taking their lives each week, so something needs to be done. Referring to the impact of the storyline, he added, "It is like a bomb being dropped. Everyone in the family goes off in their own way." The story for Jonny is really the difficulty of grieving truly. This is another story and relationship about if these catastrophes happen and the trauma. He goes off in every direction and starts to act out what Aidan has gone through in a way, the isolation, and he can't talk. He wants to blame and find a reason. Jonny struggles with Kate's reaction because she is trying to blame Aidan. Connor has quite a traditional male reaction, very tough and let's get down to business. Trauma can be destructive in itself. On a lighter note, the storyline was a chance for Richard and Shane to work together one final time, and the pair will remain firm friends. It intensified the relationship when you know it has some final timing on it, he admitted. It was immensely sad to see him go, but it has brought out a depth in our friendship. And I think this storyline has brought out a depth in the whole program. Shane was incredibly popular and the whole place has worked full heart. We were drunk the last time I saw him at his leaving do.